I'm elated to report that the mechanical portion of the table is totally finished. What a journey it's been. Obviously the last part of that was the skirt and getting all the bearings connected as I've done, and it works pretty nicely. There is a lot of movement when the skirt is being turned. In the first 2 inches of clockwise motion, the skirt literally falls 2 inches, as you can see in the slow motion. So in those first 2 inches, that's the only thing that happens to the table. It turns clockwise about 2.5 inches, somewhere in that general vicinity, and it drops the skirt 2 inches. And it does that quickly so that the skirt will clear the pie that now is going to be rotating out along with the leaves, as you can see as it proceeds. Now the table continues to turn clockwise until the linear bearing blocks extend to the outside. Now, at this point, there's a number of things that happen. First, where the arrows are pointing, the 3 star lift mechanisms raise approximately 1.5 inches in about 3.5 inches of clockwise turn. The skirt raises 3/4 of an inch so that the leaves will raise up to meet the star in the center and the pies. And that happens in about 3 inches. So at that point, the star is up, the pies and the leaves are extended as far as they can go outside, and it's ready to all come in together. And then as it continues to rotate clockwise, the blocks move in and everything comes together and locks in place. And once you want to close the table to the small size, you rotate the table counterclockwise. As it rotates, the bearing blocks move away to the fully extended position. The skirt comes down 3/4 of an inch, and the star mechanism falls down into the slots. The bearing blocks move forward and go into the locking position, and the skirt comes up to the full extent. So the mechanical portion of this table consists of a lot of machined parts and bearings. The first of which is the bearing block. So there are 12 of these bearing blocks found on the table in the locations listed by the arrow. And in each block there's obviously a bearing that the whole thing rides on. And then there are 12 plates, call them the linear rod plate and bearing block plates, that attach to the bearing block, and there's 12 of those all the way around the table. And then there are 24 solid linear bearing rods that go around the table. And then there are 12 bearing blocks consisting of 23 parts and placed as indicated by the arrows on the picture. Then there are the pie and leaf attachments that slide down into the linear bearings and guide the leaves in and out. There are 12 of these consisting of 5 separate parts and located as depicted on the picture. Then there are 3 star lift mechanisms found in the center hub as depicted by the arrows. There are 3 star mechanism lift bearings found underneath the main hub which lift the star mechanism. They are found as depicted by the arrow. Then there are 12 bearing guides consisting of 11 individual parts depicted on the picture. These guides roll underneath each pie. There's 2 guides for each pie. Then we have the bearing mounts for the outside skirt and the inside star lift, consisting of 7 individual parts, and they are located as depicted in the picture. Then we have the main bearing and axle and the bearing block with the race located as depicted in the circle. This is the bearing that the whole center system rides on. Then we have the bearing block that synchronizes the mechanical with the skirt, consisting of 13 individual parts and placed on the linear bearing and bearing block plate and found as depicted in the arrows. There are a total of 86 bearings and linear bearings on this table. It's a lot, but it does help it ride smoothly. And on a side note, I've had a number of comments in regards to saying the table looks like it moves quite a bit left and right when under pressure, and you're absolutely correct. It does flex as you open and close the table at this point, because I have not put anything on the outside of the base, which will then make it a stiff base, and there will be 0 flex once the base is tied in place. Thanks for those comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.